Welcome to First and 10 with Rams football coach Joe Prud'homme. I'm Jimmy the St. Christopher. For the first time since their rebirth in 2017, the Texas Wesleyan Rams are 2-0. That's 2 wins, 0 losses. Their winning streak dates back to last year, so they're on a 3-game winning streak after the 49-20 dismantling of Oklahoma Panhandle State up in Goodwell, Oklahoma on Saturday. Game started with a delay penalty against the Rams. Then 2 plays later, Clint Epperson took off in a 61-yard run, and from there it was 28-0, and from there the Rams cruise to the big win. Coach, your thoughts on that big win?
Well, I'm glad we got out in a hurry. For one thing, like I was mentioning earlier, it was an eventful road trip to get there. But, once we got going, it was really, really good. Clint got us going. The delay of game penalty I questioned because they just started the clock before we ever got going. And once we got to the field, there were 12 seconds left. There's 12 seconds left. It's pretty tough to run a play. So, we did that. But, yeah, once we got rolling, we put some points up, had a little third quarter letdown, but then made enough big plays to finish it off.
How did you like the third most points scored in your 5-year history?
Always good. More points the better all the time. It was great to score them. We scored on special teams. Defense, put us in good positions. Offensively, we had some big strikes. We also had some nice drives. So it was a lot of contributions from a lot of different directions.
And he had a big running game, not only from Clint Epperson, he's been on fire in 2 games, but Nick David West, and then also Ernest Ceasar. So what's gotten into the running backs?
Well, a good offensive line, opening holes. The holes were outstanding. I thought we blocked really well. I thought the O-line executed at a really decent level. We're not where we're going to be, but we never will be all the way where we think we can be. But we operated well. There was some good space to run through. Running backs were downhill, hitting it, and we mixed in enough passes to keep them off balance a little bit. But the run game was, the real catalyst.
And going back to that big run by Epperson, the 61-yarder on the second play from scrimmage, how big is it to set a tone like that?
Oh, it's great to set a tone, especially on the run game like that. If you can rip one off early, it gives you confidence, but also it kind of sets a tone and sets a little bit of a rhythm. A lot of people like to talk about the passing game and the rhythm of a passing game, and there's no question there's a lot of truth in that. But the run game, I think, is just as much of a rhythm thing. When the defense, the way they're set, the way the blocks are set up, the way the back feels it, reads it, accelerates at certain points. And, Clint does that, and immediately you got a shot of confidence for your entire offensive unit.
And you got Anthony Bobb back, and he had that big punt return. Was that one of those no, because he was inside the 10. Looks like he was going to get crunched, and then he works his way down the sideline, and he scores.
Yeah, it was one of those no, go moments. And, with AJ, he's special. There's no question about it. He can escape anywhere, and that run was spectacular. It was spectacular. His first run, he almost broke as well. When he went to the kickoff, he just had one shoelace got him. And that was his first action. He just practiced last week for the first time. He only had, I think, 2 padded practices. So he'll continue to get better. But, boy, he's a very electric runner. He can make something happen out of nothing.
And Dalton Dale, Rams quarterback, hit 5 different receivers. Is that basically the game plan for him to spread it around?
Well, it's great when it works out like that, but that's not. We don't go into the game saying, well, this one has to get 2, this one has to get 4, this one has to get 3. It's nothing like that. He is told and coached to take what they give you. Certain plays are going to set up a certain way and take advantage of what the coverage gives you. Don't force it. There's a fleet of great receivers out there. Just get them the ball and let them do their thing in space. So that's kind of the way we go into it. And he's getting better and better at it. We had the 1 pick, but outside of that, I thought we played fine.
And again, a boatload of sacks, a couple fumbles recovered, and total yardage 239 for the Aggies, and rushing yardage was below 40. So, boy, the defense, got to be happy with them.
Defense played well. We gave up a few plays, but overall the defense played really, really well. They got put in a few bad spots. We lost a turnover battle, which we haven't done, and it's something we have to fix. But put them in a bad spot a few times, and they overcame it, did a good job with it. Special teams, we had one mistake on that. Other than that, special teams were really solid again and forced a turnover. Defense blocked a field goal. So, man, the defenses, they're playing really, really well. And we're just anxious to get all the starters back on the field. We were missing a few guys every week, and we're hoping this week we're going to be completely healthy.
And as you said, the defense has been spectacular. But how about Adrian Johnson? Again, he had 3 sacks and a couple TFL.
He's just special. I mean, Adrian he's a motor that is unbelievable. His technique is great. His speed, his get off. He plays with a lot of passion. He plays hard, and he plays fast. And he gets after it. He's by far, I think, our best defensive player at this point. But he sets a tone. Everybody wants to get to that level with him. And that's really good to have that on your side.
In a big win like that, 49-20, I'm sure, you can't play a perfect game, but are there any concerns in any phase of the game that you have?
I was a little concerned with our ball security. We had the 4 turnovers. We had 3 fumbles in the pick. So that part of it I'm concerned about. We'll fix it. It's a situation that we can fix. I thought our kicking game was much, much, much better. We were 7 for 7 on PATs. Wasn't even close. They were all good. And then giving up a few big plays here and there. Special teams, we gave up a few, but a couple of the cover guys were tackled, that were trying to get there. You can't do anything about that. And we need to improve on the penalties a little bit, but you go back and watch it, and I'm like, okay, I don't see it, but they called it, so we got to figure out how to fix it. You can fix pre-snap penalties. There's no excuse for pre-snap penalties. That's something you have complete control over. You just have to fix it. It's a focus issue.
How weird was it that they didn't punt, and have you ever been in any games or many games that the opposing team did not punt?
Pretty rare. It's just, at the time you don't think about it, but, I think that's happened one other time that I remember.
You got another big game this weekend. You have a bye coming up in a couple of weeks, but that isn't this week, and you got to travel out to Arizona for a night game on Saturday against Ottawa. Boy, talk about points and offense. So the last time you played them was in 2019. Gave them a fight. They won 42-38. Obviously, that was a completely different team, but they lead 2-0 in the series. They're ranked 23rd in the nation. As we said, they're 2-0. How do they shape up?
Oh, they're a big play team. They probably are the best team in the conference at this point. As far as, offensively, for sure, their defense is really, really solid. They're dynamic. They're well coached. They have solid special teams. It's going to be a test. It's going to be a great game. We hope to make it a great game. But they've got experience on their side. They've got, we're going to play out in the desert, so they've got that going for them. We have to do the travel. Hopefully it'll work out better this week than it did last week. It's a great opportunity for us. And it's probably our best opportunity of the season. I was saying that the ACU game was our biggest opportunity, but the reason this opportunity is so big now, it's next. That's us. Right now it's all about whoever that next opponent is gets our complete focus, our complete attention. We don't look down the road, and all we really care about is how can we be successful against Ottawa, because they are extremely talented, well coached, just a solid group in every phase.
And they have a quarterback, Austin McCullough. They're averaging 59 points a game, a couple of good running backs. How do you see McCullough calling the signals?
Oh, McCullough's good. He's a veteran. He's got great targets to throw at. He makes great decisions. He can throw it the deep out all the way across the field. He's got great arm strength, and he's experienced. We're going to have to get him off his spot, if at all possible, and we just got to limit big plays. If we can force them to drive, we got a chance. If we give up big plays, it gets a lot more difficult.
And in that win by Ottawa over Sagu last week, they were sackless for the first time since 2019. Overall, what do you see from their defense?
Defense is good. The defense is really, really fast, very athletic. They come at you in a lot of different ways, different directions. They're going to be a handful. We're going to have to really play well. We're going to have to pick up stunts. We're going to have to pick up blitzes, different looks. We're going to have to find some success in the running game. And we're going to have to be very efficient in our pass game.
My wife and I are big movie buffs, and over the weekend we got to see the 12 Mighty Orphans. And I flash back to our first season. We were talking about Isaiah Starling. He wasn't really a mighty mite or a mighty orphan, but he had a story that you related, your team then in that opening season in 2017. Have you seen that movie yet?
Oh, I've seen it twice. I've read the book twice. It's awesome to me. The fact that it's a true story and it's right here in this neighborhood is really, really cool. I've had 4 or 5 orphans that have come through our program that have done really, really well. There's a certain pride with orphans in that, they rely on themselves. They're very independent. The ones that I've had have been extremely, highly motivated and driven, and they've all gone on and done great things with their lives and their careers. And to watch what they had to overcome, to me was, it was great. I mean, at least they had a field.
Yeah.
We don't have a field, but they did theirs out on the Masonic property. But I relate a lot of our issues and struggles sometimes with what they did. And it's not really fair off the field, but on the field the struggles were, similar. And I just think that if you haven't read that book, you're missing out. I mean, if you care about football or like football, or even history or Fort Worth history, that's a must-read. The movie's a must-see. It's an outstanding story. And the head referee that plays the head referee in the first game, when they have the little scuffle, they throw the flag and all that, is a good friend of mine, Aaron Beck, from All Saints head coach. And so I had to text him from the movie, and I said, how could you call that holding call and bring back that orphan's touchdown on the first play? And he gave me quite a colorful response that it's really probably not appropriate for this show right here. So, but it was great. Everything about it was fantastic.
And the book by former Star-Telegram writer, the great Jim Dent, wrote the book, and then the movie, The Mighty, the 12 Orphans, the Mighty 12 Orphans, the Mighty Mites as they were called. And very inspirational, motivational, obviously, and from a coaching aspect too, because of Rusty Russell.
Oh yeah, I mean the way he operated, and it was really cool because with his daughter drawing on the board the formation and spreading them out and all that. My daughter and my son, when they were little bitty, used to go to work with me on Saturdays because my wife was working, and so my daughter used to draw formations and do things. But it was funny because when she did it, it was 20, 30, 40, 50, the 60-yard line, the 70-yard line, the 80. She didn't figure out the other, but she would write the things like plays that score, and it was always for her. It was all fades downfield, but it was that I like that parallel. But Rusty Russell was a genius, but better than that, he was a great man. And to want to help people and to help kids, those are the heroes that I see and are real mentors and models for me to try to emulate. And it's just everything about it's amazing to me.
Yeah, it was a great, as we said, inspirational and motivational story. He was a war hero from the First World War, almost lost his sight, and then made a promise to whoever, the higher-ups, that he would help kids, and then if he could maintain his sight, which he did, and he went on to coach, I believe, at Highland Park and then SMU after that. A weird thing about the movie, though, and about Rusty Russell, I guess he never won a state championship?
He was so close. First year you get there, I mean, you take those guys, 12 kids on a truck to games, and then, they didn't have a scene in there, but in the book, there's a scene where they're talking about they have to go stay in a hotel. And in the hotel, the hotel manager the next day asked Russ, he goes, well, I thought the kids stayed here. He goes, well, they did. And she said, everything was, the beds were made, the towels were folded, everything was perfect order, like they'd never been there. He goes, ma'am, I guess you've never been around orphans. They're really self-sufficient. And Rusty Russell was an orphan himself as well.
That's right.
So that part of it was, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it because to me it's just an incredible story and it's so inspirational.
So check it out, The Mighty Orphans. Plus there's some great digitized shots of Fort Worth and that era of time, late 20s through the 40s, and a packed Farrington field. And I was telling my wife, she's never been to Farrington with me to do the games. That's where we do the games. That's where we do the games.
Yeah, it's cool. And what's cool about Farrington are the walls on the end. They don't talk about it in the movie, but in the book, those walls were put there to keep people from coming onto the field because the stands were so packed that the people would come and they would literally be behind the team getting on the field. So had there been a turnover going the other way, they're in the way because it was so packed. It seats 18,000. They were drawn over 20 to those games. That's crazy. But how cool of a story. And, I mean, it's just the Fort Worth history, and it's really, really good. I mean, when they show Amon Carter and his making the bets and all that kind of thing, it's matter of fact, when I was at Nolan and the book came out, we always had a universal reading book. And I suggested it, and because I was on the academic council, so I suggested it. The whole council read it. They said, absolutely. So that was in 2012. That was our book to read. And the whole school loved it. And with so much Fort Worth history and the message, it's just really powerful.
So check out the book, see the movie, and catch the Rams on Saturday night out in Arizona. They're going to be playing the Ottawa Spirit, 2-0 and number 23 in the country. So another big one. Good luck, Coach.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I just hope that we have buses. This past weekend.
Yeah, tell that story since you're talking about that.
This past week on Thursday, we get a call. Our DFO, Director of Football Operations, Coach Townsend, gets a call at 12:20, and he's told we may not have buses to go to OPSU. And he comes and tells me that, and I'm like, we leave tomorrow at 9. I said, what are the chances of us finding a way to get there? He says, Coach, I don't feel good about it. I said, why did they take them? They said, well, FEMA commandeered them to go to help with Ida and all the different refugees all the way up, and they zeroed in on the DFW North Texas buses, and they took them. Just, you had buses lined up, sorry, they're gone. They hit Houston, they got their buses, they got Austin's, because we made all these phone calls. Austin, they got Oklahoma City buses, so we had to make a decision how to get there. We called CAPS rental vans. We got 8 15-passenger vans, a U-Haul, and took the road show up to Amarillo, spent the night, and then drove on into Goodwill the next day. And the coaching staff and then one of the other guys that helps us a lot all chipped in, and we drove 8 hours apiece, both way, coming and going. So it ended up being like 16 hours on the road with our kids. And a lot of teams, that adversity could throw them off, and you could really lose your rhythm and focus. Our kids did, and it was like another day at the office for them. They went right into just kind of fellowshipping together, enjoying each other's company. And we mixed up all the groups except the O-line, because the O-line really likes to be together all the time. But we mixed them all up, so it was a chance for them to get to know each other even better. And you try to take whatever you get that's negative and make it a positive. And we had lemons, made lemonade, but I don't want to drive to the desert. That's a 20-hour ride, and we're supposed to fly out Friday morning. We're hoping we have good ground transportation, and just knock on wood, everything's going to work out. But no, we're excited for this weekend. We're ready.
Hopefully you won't have to take a truck with all your players or 8 vans or whatever it was Saturday night out to Arizona to play Ottawa. Anyway, Coach, good luck on Saturday night. And thank you to Coach Joe Prud'homme, Kenneth Flowers, our producer, Ricky Dotson, the athletic director, and to SID Ryan Keating and his staff for another edition of First and 10. Good luck to the Rams Saturday night. We'll see you next week. Jimmy Christopher saying so long.